Good day, everyone. Today we're going to be talking about the Cypres Doctrine, which is a principle in trust that serves as a bridge between the settler's intention and practical changing circumstances. Cypres Doctrine is a French phrase which means as near as possible. It reflects the donor's charitable intention as clearly as possible, even when it is impossible or illegal to carry out.
So what is the real-world importance of this? Imagine a philanthropist in 1980 set up a trust in order to fund a research about curing smallpox. Then, decades later, smallpox was eradicated. So what do we do in this aspect? Because the trust did not fulfill its purpose, and do we just waste the fund, or do we reserve it in another unit?
This is where the Cypres Doctrine steps in. Instead of allowing the trust to fail, courts can redirect the fund to a similar purpose, say, funding research into other infectious diseases. The idea is to preserve the charitable spirit behind the gift, even if the exact goal can no longer be met.
Now, let's break this down legally. A Cypres is a legal doctrine which allows the courts to amend a document to enforce it as near as possible to the original intent of the document in cases where it is impossible or impracticable. There are certain conditions that must apply for this Cypres to apply. The first condition is that they had a valid charitable trust. The second condition is that they had a general charitable intent. And the third condition is that the terms of this contract are impossible or impracticable to carry out.
Now, let's examine an important element in Cypres Doctrine. That is general charitable intent. For instance, if the donor intends to build a library in a particular village and that village ceases to exist, it definitely means that that trust may end or may be forfeited. But if he had a broader goal, that is to promote education in rural development, people will allow the courts to redirect the trust appropriately.
An helpful case can be found in the case of Jackson versus Phillips. In this case, the settler created a public trust for the end to Negro slave trade. 4 years after this trust was created, there was an abolition of the slave trade. Now, the question arose as to what should be the intention of the public trust, because there was a contention that the fund should be shared among the children of the settler. The court held that it should be used for the nearest possible intention, which is to cater for those who are freed from slave trade.
Another case is the case of the United States against the Hughes Memorial Home. The doctrine of Cypres was applied in revising the trust. The home was created by a trust which stated that it was for the white children in Virginia and North Carolina. The court saw that the home, due to its discrimination against black children, is in violation of the Fair Housing Act. The court further stated that the racial discrimination is merely incidental to the main purpose of the trust, which is to create shelter for the orphan children. The court then decided that the trust can continue its operations in as long as it ignores the racial restriction in the trust.
In Nigeria, the Cypres Doctrine is usually recognized under the principles of equity and is usually used by the courts when dealing with charitable trusts or gifts. However, it is not as extensively recognized in some jurisdictions. Nigerian courts often rely on English case law and statutory principles, especially when there's a gap in statutory guidance.
Now you might ask, why is this doctrine even necessary? The answer lies in the nature of charity. Charitable gifts are often for the long-term benefits of the society. However, diseases are eradicated, institutions are shut down, and communities evolve. If the law insists on following the original terms, the rigid ones, then many charitable gifts will go to waste.
The doctrine prevent this. The balance respects for non-intent societal relevance. It allows the legal system to have that, while still honoring the arts behind the gifts.
The Cypres Doctrine is a perfect example of law's ability to combine logic with compassion. It keeps charitable gifts alive even when the world is changing, by allowing courts to redirect trust in a way that remains faithful to the donor's compassion and values. It protects the long-term integrity and impact of charitable giving. Thank you so much for listening to our presentation. Thank you.